was one of the most radical jet designs Nazi Germany ever imagined. A flying triangle built to smash past 1,000 kilometers per hour. No tail, no fuss, just raw speed. But as it neared completion, the war swallowed it whole. Picture this. It's 1943. Vienna is still standing, but the bombs are coming. Air raid sirens scream. The Allies rule the skies. And deep in a quiet research lab, Alexander Lipish, the man behind the Me-163 Comet. If we can't rule the sky, then we'll build something that breaks through it, he's said to have once declared. And what he meant was nothing short of a flying triangle. No tailplane, no traditional fuselage, just speed, raw, unfiltered, dangerous. Lipish wasn't some wild-eyed dreamer. He was a visionary, the man who helped create the Me-163 Comet. But even that wasn't enough for him. In 1943, he left Messerschmitt and returned to Vienna, to the Aeronautical Research Institute. Far from the nightly bombings, right in the middle of the future. His goal, a machine faster than anything before it. Built as one seamless shape, wing, structure, propulsion, all merged into a single form. Its name, P-11-121. But inside the project, they called it Delta 6, and it was unlike anything that had ever flown, or ever would. No ailerons, no tailplane, no engine pods hanging from the wings. Instead, 2 jet engines buried deep inside the wings themselves. The pilot sat up front, encapsulated in a blunt nose cone. The forward view? Limited, but manageable. The rest? A razor-shaped arrowhead meant to slice through the sky like a flying blade. The Reich Air Ministry was intrigued, at least on paper, because Delta 6 wasn't just any concept. It was Lipish's bold contender for what they called the 1,000 by 1,000 by 1,000 program. 1,000 kilometers range, 1,000 kilograms bomb load, 1,000 kilometers per hour top speed. Not a dream, a requirement. And so he began crafting an entirely new class of aircraft. Not a reworked Messerschmitt, not a follow-up to the Focke-Wulf, something of its own, pure, radical. The P-11-121 wasn't designed for the war as it was being fought. It was made for what might come next, if there was even a next to be had. Its design looked like it belonged to another decade. Its sharp, elegant form resembled interceptor jets of the 1960s far more than anything flying in the 1940s. If you're thinking right now, wait, this sounds like a jet from the future, and it's 1944? Wait, if you're still watching, then hit subscribe. 88% haven't, don't be one of them. Let's get back to the P-11. When you first see the P-11-121, one question hits you immediately. How on earth was this supposed to fly? But that was exactly the point. It wasn't built to follow rules, it was built to break them. Lipish's P-11 was a true flying wing. A triangle meant to shoot through the air like a dart. No extra weight, no excess structure. Everything unnecessary was stripped away. Everything essential was fused into one uncompromising form. At its core, 2 Jumo 004B turbojets, each pushing 8.8 kilonewtons of thrust, hidden inside the wing roots. No external pods, no drag-inducing joints. Air intakes were tucked neatly at the wing roots. Exhausts funneled their fire between twin vertical fins, almost invisible but brutally effective. Lipish understood something few others did. Speed wasn't just about brute force. It was about drag, shape, and airflow. The dimensions? A wingspan of 10.8 meters, length 7.4 meters, height 2.76, not gigantic but solid. Fully loaded, it weighed in at around 7.5 tons. Empty, just under half that. Its wing surface, over 50 square meters. That meant serious lift for long glides or sharp climbs, and it could go fast, very fast. Over 1,000 kilometers per hour. Realistic, at a time when most fighters struggled to hit 600. At 10,000 meters in the thin, icy air, it was designed to slice through enemy bomber formations with surgical precision. Even its range was astonishing, 3,000 kilometers. For a jet concept from 1944, almost unthinkable. It was meant to carry the heavier Mk-10 cannons. And beneath the fuselage, room for up to 1,000 kilograms of bombs. But what about control? It had no horizontal tailplane. The answer, ailerons. a brilliant combination of elevators and ailerons built directly into the trailing edge of the wings. They controlled pitch and roll in one seamless motion. The twin vertical fins handled yaw. It flew like a modern delta wing jet. Landing gear smart and flat. The nose wheel retracted forward. The main gears folded sideways into the wings. If you think the P-11 was a one-off flash of brilliance, you don't know Lipish. The man thought in series. As soon as one concept was on paper, the next was already forming in his mind. Not, this should be enough, but always, what if we made it even better? The first version that took shape was the P-11V1. A glider, no engine, no radar, no weapons, and just the pure shape. Its only mission, to prove it could fly, to see if it held steady in the air, to learn how it handled wind, control inputs, balance. It was handmade from wood. Nearly complete when the front lines began closing in. What happened next sounds like a scene from a Cold War spy novel. Lipish's team dismantled the glider and hid it in a garage near Salzburg, ducked among crates of supplies, canned food, and desperation. And there it sat. Until American troops found it. "What the hell is that?" one reportedly asked when they saw the triangular beast. And you can't blame him. It didn't look like an aircraft. It looked like an idea that had outrun its own time. But the story didn't end there. Alongside the glider, planning continued for the P-11V2, the jet version. 2 Jumo 004Bs were meant to bring it to life. It could have flown, with engines, armament, and everything else. The frame was already in preparation. But then came the bombs, the blackouts, the material shortages, and finally, the war's end, faster than Lipish could draw. So why go to all this trouble? Why build something faster than anything else if it would never be used? The answer lies high above, where the Allied bomber streams passed overhead, dark shapes crossing the daylight sky. B-17 SB-24s, Lancasters, dozens, hundreds, entire squadrons, cities burned below, engines burned above, and the Luftwaffe? It was running out of options. What was missing was a fighter that could strike from nowhere, climb fast, hit hard, vanish, before the escorts even knew what happened. No dogfighting, no spirals, just attack and disappear. That was the idea behind the P-11. A destroyer built for sudden, high-altitude combat. Its speed, a weapon, its range, an advantage. It was supposed to launch, hit, and vanish, and in doing so do more damage than entire groups of fighters. Lipish's design promised all of that, at least on paper, but on the battlefield, blueprints aren't enough. Because just as the jet version of the P-11 was coming together, chaos took hold. Jumo engines? Nowhere to be found. The few that were still being built were reserved for the ME-262- top priority. Time for flight tests? Gone. Materials? Scarce. And when the first bombs fell on Vienna, the project was grounded, before it ever left the ground. The P-11 never flew, not even for a taxi test. The V-2 prototype with engines was never completed. The V-1 glider survived because it was hidden. Everything else vanished into the smoke of war's final months. And yet, even though it never flew, it still left a mark. The Americans seized the plans, the models, the test data, and what they found fascinated them, because here was an idea that was different, sleeker, bolder, faster. The P-11 never left the runway, but in a way, it still flies. Through the minds of those who explore the unknown, who ask what might have been, who chase bold ideas with sharp edges. It was never a symbol of victory, but it was a symbol of courage, of creative madness. A machine not stopped by bullets, but by time itself. If this story fascinated you as much as it did us, leave a like. Hit subscribe if you think more people should hear stories like this, and drop us a comment. Which forgotten plane should we uncover next? Maybe it's still waiting in a dusty hangar, just one story away from being remembered.